Happy 2018, everyone! Quentin Tarantino's in the captain's chair, and we have reviews of last year's holiday movies. This is The Trailer Park.
When I was a kid, and I saw the trailer that was coming to the theater, I was out of my mind with anticipation.
Welcome, everybody, to The Trailer Park. My name is Dave.
And I'm Nate.
Yep, Mike is off within a family event. It's not an emergency. He's just helping somebody out, but he's not here. That's all that's
In-laws
important.
requested his help.
Yeah.
He had to go to their aid. It's one of those marriage requirements.
Yeah, you know. But this is the official movie podcast of WampaSlayer.com. It's 2018, actually.
It is actually 2018.
The podcasts that came out in 2018 earlier were recorded in 2017, but we physically are in 2018.
It's like the future.
It is. I don't know. We struggle with things like everybody wants to do 2017 in review, which I feel like for movies is the awards times.
Well, that's the time when we can review all the movies that nobody saw.
Well, I mean, if you start off though with Golden Globes, then you get a wider.
All right, fair
So
enough.
I'm talking like all awards.
Oh, okay, not just the
Golden
Oscars.
Globes, the Sci-Fi Awards, all those extra stuff.
Yeah.
That's when you'll get that extra stuff. So it's not like, so that's when we'll talk about things that came out, March of last year.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about our holiday movies. That's, like the second biggest time of the year. Not summer blockbusters are generally where. But
Yeah, because
holiday movies are dense.
We went through for quite a few weeks of wondering what we were going to see on Sunday night, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, there's more to see than we can possibly do.
It's true.
So,
but before we get into that, no, that's it. We don't have any news topics. I don't think anything.
not
happened
really,
big.
no.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. There's been some awards talks. Oh, did you know what we didn't talk about? All the Money in the World last time.
All about.
Yeah, so
Kevin
Spacey was to play this movie, which looks very good and is out now, and we haven't seen it yet. But it looks very good, and it is starring Christopher Plummer and a bunch of other people whose names I don't remember. But all of them already have been nominated for Golden Globes. The beautiful thing about this movie, though, or the interesting thing, is that Christopher Plummer's part was to be played by
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. It went from dramatic pause to I was lost.
And I wasn't sure. I was like, is he throwing this to me? Is he?
So obviously Kevin Spacey has ousted himself from Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because, when you get in trouble for something, don't combat it in stupid ways.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not things are right or wrong, or what you did is right or wrong, don't say stupid stuff.
Yeah. What was the acronym? Wasn't that you using the acronym the other day?
For what?
For how to deal with a customer? No, it wasn't. It was like heat. Like.
Oh
no, it was Tom. Tom was doing it the other day. It was like apologize.
Oh yeah.
Empathize, apologize, make a plan of action or something. I don't know. Take action. Or hear, empathize, apologize, take action.
I would say our one at work is like a TI, and we tell somebody there's a TI error, it's a total idiot.
Oh, nice.
But in any case, that's what happened to him. So Ridley Scott, who directed this movie, reshot over 9 days all of Kevin Spacey's parts with Christopher Plummer. And obviously we didn't see a trailer before. There was no trailer existed that had Kevin Spacey in it.
Now, I heard it wasn't a whole lot of actual footage, though.
Well, no, so he is not he's the supporting actor.
Yeah.
The mom is the focus.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, it's her mother is a very wealthy family. The child gets kidnapped and is ransomed, and the grandfather is very staunch on not giving a penny.
And it's a true story, right?
I don't know. I don't know if it was based on true. Maybe it was. I don't know. But and there's some really good lines from the trailer of how much more money when will you have enough money? He goes, I don't know, but I don't right now, or something like that. Or when he says, if I give them a cent, all 14 of my grandchildren will be kidnapped. I'm like, all right, it's, interesting thing, but it's the mom going after the kid and stuff.
And that is that's a classic terrorist argument.
Yeah.
If you give in to the terrorists, is that just encouraging them,
That's
or
true. So, but in any case, it was completely reshot with him, and apparently it looks amazing with that. So that's props to them. That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work, but way to,
Christopher Plummer's a great actor, though, so you can't not think that that's going to be good.
Yeah, for sure.
But, anyways, like I said, it's kind of a little bit slow. Unfortunately, January and February, if a movie's coming out in that time, is generally when they're either trying to get it under the wire for a award show, or they tend to be the throwaway times, which was so amazing that Deadpool did so well. It's because everybody was assuming that it was not a good movie, that the studio didn't have any confidence in it, because it came out on Valentine's Day, which is usually a throwaway time for movies.
Well, now, and then this year we have Black Panther, which I think is more about them just trying to space.
I think that's scheduling.
I think, they just need to space out. They have so many movies that come out, they want to spread them out.
Yeah.
So.
So we'll just jump right into movie trailers. Mike usually goes first, and you are Mike today, so
I am Mike.
You can go ahead and take that first.
All right, so I picked one called Scorched Earth. I mainly picked it because I am a sucker for post-apocalyptic anything.
Yeah, you are.
I'm listening to The Dark Tower right now, a lot of books and whatever. I'm really into that genre. So this is it seems very standard. There's some kind of plague. Water's not drinkable. Billions of people die. This is generations later, so after things have calmed down. It looks very much like a Western. It's kind of a wild, lawless wasteland where bounty hunters are a big deal. They're the ones that kind of do the lawman job out in the wherever. And so it stars Gina Carano, who is Angel Dust from Deadpool.
Yep.
She's Riley in Fast and Furious. She's an MMA fighter. So she's not really an actress. She is a model, fitness model, and MMA fighter.
MMA.
But she is she's a bounty hunter and going after a very the biggest bounty. Who basically big bad guy took over a whole town, made it his own. It's now a place where all the bad guys live, and she's being told, oh, no one person can go take down this town by themselves. And a few scenes later, you see her shooting a stick of dynamite out of a crossbow. So clearly, she has the tools. John Hannah's in it, too. His name is Doc, because every good Western needs a sidekick named Doc.
Of course.
It looks, it's a limited release, comes out in February. It's going to be right on iTunes. It looks silly. She's not. I was never really sold on her as anything other than the background muscle.
She was good in Fast and the Furious.
I never made it to 6.
She was in 7.
Oh,
or was she
6?
She was in 6.
She was in 6. Yeah.
They're good, but they bleed together.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. She didn't look horrible in the trailers, so I'll give her a shot. It's cool. In this genre, very rarely do you see a female protagonist.
It's true.
Especially this kind of female protagonist.
Yeah, action star female protagonist.
Yeah, this is not somebody who's going to use her cunning and her wile. This is somebody who's going to go in and blow things up. And basically, it's a Wild West movie with modern technology and guns.
Interesting.
And hey, you know what? Those could be fun, because as long as they know what they are and they stick to that, I'll watch it.
You say you didn't see Fast and the Furious. She's only 5'8".
Really?
Because she looks so tall in Deadpool.
Yeah.
But so I saw Deadpool before I saw Fast and Furious. Yeah, I was say Fantastic Four. And she's really short, standing next to all the guys and a couple of the girls, and I'm like, is that? That looks like her, but I don't know why she's so short.
That's funny. Well, and I guess in Deadpool, her main fight scene is against somebody who's 8 foot tall.
Yeah, and CG.
Yeah, so you can't really
tell. And then
tell.
all of her shots are usually up against something or laying on the table.
When Wade is looking up at her.
But not that 5'8" super short, but she's a lot shorter than you would imagine that she is.
Although it's funny, when I first started the preview and she first popped up on there, I instantly pictured a matchstick in her mouth.
Yeah.
Just because
oral fixation.
Yep, apparently. So
one question I have, because this is my only issue that tends to be with especially Wild West type post-apocalyptic. Do they look like they're all in perfect makeup and outfits?
That was something I very specifically looked for, because I was like, okay, how dirty are they? Yeah. And they look pretty dirty in every scene. Even when she is clearly, quote unquote, cleaned up, she's still a little smudgy.
Well, it has the idea of that this is a rough and tumble area. That's Revolution. I couldn't watch
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why is everybody so perfect?
Yeah.
And it just annoys me. Like, it's costume direction, it's makeup. You guys could do that stuff well.
Yeah. So no, that part looked good. I'm interested.
Yeah. I mean, I'd watch it.
Yeah. All right, what you got?
I have Sicario 2 Soldado. We're gonna keep that theme going.
Yeah, interesting.
But instead of Wild West, it's Mexican drug lords. So this movie came out. I want to say it came out last year. Sicario did. It was Dennis Villanueva, who just recently did Blade Runner. Who did Arrival that same year. Very visual director. Very high concept director. Directing this type of movie was it was so amazing how well Emily Blunt played the audience. Like, like the idea that you have no idea what that world really looks like on the inside.
Yeah.
Like people who spend their entire lives running under tunnels just to get drugs in and out and stuff like that, and how immediately people are murdered as soon as they do something wrong and all that stuff. And the horror that she goes through to like realize what's going on in the world.
Now, what is she? So how is she involved in it?
She's, I believe, an FBI investigator or something like that, working with the DEA, who the main agent is Josh Brolin, and he calls in like his asset, which is Benicio del Toro, who is really the focus of the movie, who is definitely not a good guy, but he's one of the guys who kills the bad guys. And I don't want to ruin the end of the movie for you, but there's an amazing scene where he just walks in on the drug lord's house when they're having dinner with their entire family, and it's just it's fantastic. So they're making another one. Dennis Villanueva is stepped down. It's Stefano Sollima. I don't know what he's done. He's an Italian director, but I'm sure that'll be great. It's an anthology sequel, so it's not actually like this is what happens next, because the movie didn't end like there's going to be a sequel. So it looks like they're going to continue with these two characters.
Okay.
With not Emily Blunt, she's not in it, but Josh Brolin's character and Benicio del Toro. But it's a really cool movie. If you know, like I think it came out and like released way under the wire. Like nobody would ever have cared about it. But it was a really good movie. But that comes out June 29th.
And what's the title again?
2018. Sicario is the title of the first movie. This one's Sicario 2 Soldado.
So what is Sicario?
I don't remember if that was his name.
Okay.
Or if that's the name of like the... Hang on. I apologize. My keyboard is not mechanical, but it's fake like it should be. I don't know, actually.
All right. Cool.
Oh, it's the name of the cartel boss.
Okay. Yep. All right.
But yeah, the Sicario film series. So it's almost like this guy's going to be like a James Bond. Like, the movies don't need to connect to each other. It's the character that's alive.
Well,
which
is
a very cool... I mean, when you talk about anti-hero, like some of the terrible things that he does, and then you would never know that when she gets in trouble, he bursts in to save her. You're like, but is he going to kill her? Or what's up right now?
Awesome.
It's just it's a very edge-of-your-seat kind of movie.
All right.
But to round it off, last night we went and saw Downsizing, which we'll talk about in just a minute.
Yep.
We saw a couple trailers, as always. We saw Mike's silent... I don't remember the name of the actual movie. The one about the Josh Krasinski.
Quiet Place?
Yeah, Quiet Place.
Yeah.
The one that he directed. I don't know if he wrote it, but I know he directed it.
I'm excited to see it.
And
I'm not a horror
it's him and his wife.
movie fan, but that looks cool.
Emily Blunt, just to continue on with the...
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very cool concept. What else? Oh, the Winchester. Did you ever actually see that trailer?
Yeah.
The Winchester House thing? I thought that was... Very cheesy looking trailer, but still I like any kind of history.
It does, and it makes me want to investigate the actual history of it.
So that's
myself.
always... I think that when a horror movie can do that well, I think that's a good thing. But we saw another one. It's called Blockers. Now you've seen this trailer before.
I had seen this trailer before. Yes.
When did you see the trailer?
It was. I feel like it was a while ago. I don't remember what I went and saw that without you.
I mean, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
It's probably how it's going to go tomorrow.
Yep.
So. I don't know. Yeah, it comes out in April. But it's
so it is Blockers.
Yeah.
However, the poster has a giant rooster.
Yeah. It's directed by Kay Cannon, who directed the Pitch Perfect movies.
Okay.
So I form your own opinion there. I've never seen the Pitch Perfect movies. The trailers make me not want to see them.
It's not the first one. I mean, like it
It was at the height of the acapella craze.
Yeah, it's a little there was some entertainment value in it, but I mean,
and all those girls are hilarious. And
good,
but
it was not something that made me want to really go see the other two
Yeah.
or rewatch it.
But it's Leslie Mann, John Cena, and Ike Barinholtz are the three main people. And personally, I thought this movie, like, I was so dead set on the movie for like the first minute of the trailer. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing when they're interpreting the emojis,
Yeah,
and all that stuff. And then we're gonna make a pact. We're gonna make a sex pact. I'm like, nobody talks like this. It's the perfect thing of an adult making things for kids. That they have no idea. But then the movie, that was funny.
it just goes. It's a stupid. It's one of those. Number one, it's a stupid comedy that could have a very simple solution.
Yeah,
like that they could have just like called their daughters and fixed it. But no, they're gonna go crazy, and it's gonna be a storm of things happening.
Yeah.
But I love Leslie Mann.
I do love Leslie Mann.
I don't feel like I see her in enough things, but every time I see her in something, I really enjoy her.
It's a French toast.
Yeah. And John Cena. I know you
Cena,
were very impressed by him in this trailer.
But playing this, like, so you would imagine, obviously John Cena is attempting to move to film. He's attempting to try to do the Rock thing, which maybe he'll do, maybe he won't. I really haven't seen anything with him in it, other than weird, he'll funny be in there because he's John Cena. But there was actually a couple trailers recently. I mean, he was in Daddy's Home. He's in something else coming up.
Well, he has to pay his dues like The Rock did with like the game plan
and the Tooth Fairy.
And the Tooth Fairy, so he's got to pay his family dues, and then he can do his own thing.
But the fact that he was in this movie, usually like when The Rock would show up like this, he would be like the hunky dad that nobody can take their eyes off of.
Yeah.
Or something like this. He's in these like short khaki shorts, this very loose-fitting like button-up shirt, and he just talks like so normal. I'm like, this is hilarious. The fact that they didn't, if he had no muscles at all, it would be exactly the same character.
Because you're right. The Rock would be that overconfident. I'm gonna fix this myself.
Or even if he was jokey and dumb, he would still. They would make jokes about his muscles.
Yeah, but John Cena just seems like a normal guy. No, it looks pretty funny. My biggest question coming out of the trailer is. So he has a daughter, and they show his wife a couple times. I think they make it pretty clear that Leslie Mann is a single mom.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that like he's still married, and I don't know why that question like really was a driving force.
Why are these three individual parents?
Yes. Why are none of their spouses involved in this friendship?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And Ike Barinholtz has been showing up in a bunch of stuff. I think that he's funny. I think that he doesn't really play anybody different than himself. Maybe he'll be different. I don't know.
But that works for some. I mean, like Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd has had a pretty darn good career, and I continue to enjoy watching Paul Rudd be Paul Rudd.
Seems like he stumbles on every movie set.
And same with, and now I'm going to blank on his name. The guy he's in the new Game Night, the main guy.
Oh, Jason Bateman.
Same thing.
Jason Bateman is 100% the straight man of Hollywood.
Yes. But it works, and I continue to enjoy seeing him.
Because they put people next to him that are perfect.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that that's the case here.
Can do well. So let's go ahead and real quick. We're gonna run now. We're gonna review some of our holiday movies.
All right.
A lot of movies, big movies, came out this holiday. Obviously, we talked about Star Wars last week. Thor came out during this time. Coco was fantastic. All these big movies you should see. We're gonna talk about a couple that were not as anticipated. A little bit off the rails. Jumanji, of course, was a household name, but.
For sure.
But the second thing out of every mouth was, why are they making another Jumanji movie?
But every person, I guess if we're going to get into Jumanji, every person that I told I saw that, had a real negative reaction until I told them it's not a remake. It is the same game. The first one ends with it being washed up on shore. This one starts with somebody finding it. So... they reference Robin Williams' character. It's the same world, and people were like, "Oh, okay. I guess I didn't realize that." Because when I first thought they were remaking it, I was annoyed.
Yeah, when they talked about it, and then when they talked about who's going to be in it, I'm like, "This is just going to be really stupid." And then that first trailer was really good.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because
it was so different than what I thought they were going to do.
Yep. I like the idea of the avatars and the 4 people that they had play those 4 characters fit those roles very well. And all 4 of those actors I felt did a very good job. I don't know, being the kids that they were representing.
I agree. And I mean, when you go down to it, the little lessons that they were trying to teach were really transparent and just basic and all that stuff. Like, when somebody asked me about what I thought was movie, I'm like, this movie was really stupid, and it was absolutely hilarious. Yeah,
it was funny. It was good action. Good. It was cool.
Yeah, Kevin Hart just played Kevin Hart.
Yep.
The Rock was just The Rock. The one thing that I always worry about anytime you put like 2 famous high energy comedians next to each other, like Jack Black and Kevin Hart, is you tend to see them trying to one-up each other or match each other's energy. I like that they, first of all, Jack Black was playing a character on his own.
Yes.
So that helped divert a little bit. He wasn't playing himself like Kevin Hart was, and they split them off. Mm-hmm. They made those pair-ups, which worked out perfectly.
Yep. No, I agree. I like it. And Colin Hanks' little cameo at the end. I was like, he looked like such an adult in that.
Is that Colin Hanks?
Yeah. But yeah, that was just a fun movie. That's one I would go see in the theater again, just because it was fun. It was
a perfectly fun movie. It was a perfectly good movie. Nothing terrible about it.
No. I was a little annoyed with the number of, and it's silly, but the amount of cursing at the beginning of the movie. I was like, I mean, I understand you're going for how teenagers really speak,
it's
but
true. And it's late 90s grunge.
Everything else in this movie could be such a family movie. Why do you have to throw in the unnecessary? Like, because that wasn't really necessary.
It's true.
You know,
And I didn't need her. I mean, they got rid of it real quick, but how many times I don't have my phone? I'm like, all right, we get the idea that all teenagers are obsessed with their phone.
Yeah.
Move off of it, which they did eventually. I'm like, they fixed that problem.
Well, her having her penis joke.
That was
pretty funny, but
they kind of take over the
a little inappropriate, but not horrible because it wasn't sexual. It was about her peeing with it. Yep. So, it was pretty funny.
I liked the idea. So when they first talked about when those first set photos were released, people freaked out over Karen Gillan's outfit.
Yeah.
And she said that they reference it in the movie. And in the trailer, they talked about it. I'm like, if they're going to keep referencing it, though, it's not going to be good. If they're going to keep saying, oh, I'm just wearing this, all the stuff. But it was there to teach her a lesson, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked that idea that you can be comfortable and all that kind of stuff. Yep. And it was good. It's a really fun movie. I don't think there's anything bad you can say about it.
Not really,
other than, there's not. Some bad CGI every once in a while, but you can't beat that.
Yep. So what do you got next?
And we didn't talk about what's his name, Jonas. He wasn't too bad.
No.
Is it Nick Jonas?
I don't know.
He's one of the Jonas brothers.
No, he was.
I'm sorry. One of he was no longer a Jonas brother.
Yeah. No, he was
brother Jonas.
He was fine, and I like that dealing with the time because. I mean, that was obviously a big theme in the first one, was finding somebody who'd been stuck in the game for a long time. And
there were little things I noticed. Did you notice when they pulled back and before he was about to put the eye back in, the paths that they all took to get there were the board game?
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, over the forest, you can see the cuts through the path. You know how they were telling to go different ways?
Yep.
All of the cuts through the path were the boards. Game going to the center eye, which was
that is super cool.
There were nice little references throughout the entire thing of the game without saying this was the game that we used to play.
Yeah, I did like that, and I did like at the very end. It was a very modern way of I feel like they got out of that game and they're like, yeah, let's just destroy it. Let's just smash it.
Yeah.
Like now let's go hide it somewhere.
Yeah, let's go
throw it in the water. We're gonna smash it with a bowling ball.
Although after the credits, the drums started again.
Yep.
So that means it's not done.
It's magical.
Yeah, it's true. So let's move on. That was a movie we both loved.
Yep.
Let's move on to a movie we didn't work so well with, and we're going to talk about Netflix's Bright.
Yes.
This is directed by David Ayers, who directed Suicide Squad. Which you can tell because Ike Barinholtz's in it, Will Smith is in it, and it's colors and light. And,
and just
your
a
thoughts?
lot of side stories. I really wanted to like it. I like the premise. I like I mean, that nice mix of cops and fantasy was cool. I was excited about the actors in it. I just did not really like that movie.
No.
Nothing really sucked me in. Nothing really made me care about anybody.
No, and everybody was a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like, the cops immediately were terrible.
Yep.
Like, this is just dumb.
And not even for a purpose. Like, there are a lot of movies where everybody's a bad guy, but it seems to serve a purpose for the story. No.
And then there's times where they would just lay out exposition for you, like when the guy's being interrogated, and he's just basically just telling the story.
Yeah.
And then times like, what does the magic wand do? I don't know.
Yeah.
It grants powers, and then you have to know the spells, but sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
And nobody can touch it unless you're a bright, although sometimes other people can just touch it. It was weird.
Yeah, like, was it the rubber gloves that allowed them to touch it, or they could put it, like, in a cloth?
Yeah.
Because apparently cotton is anti-magical.
There was other things that I loved that I was so excited about that were wasted. The magic police. I loved those two guys, the feds, the elf and the guy. I'm like, that could be so good if... Why is magic outlawed? That didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, why can't magic exist, but it's regulated?
Especially when the elves are the ones in charge, and they're the ones who seem to be the most magical. You know, if it was the orcs, the lower class, who were magic, I could see the powers outlawing it to keep them from using it. I mean, obviously, there were a lot of... like, in-your-face racial connections.
Which is fine. I mean, I knew that's what they were going for. It's just the idea that they hated orcs because they sided with the Dark Lord 2,000 years ago. Like, I would have thought you hated orcs because they were different from you.
Yeah.
Like, a second-class citizen makes sense to me in the context of what you're trying to tell me, not... we hate them because 2,000 years ago they were evil.
And then, you know, they're trying to draw these analogies, obviously, to African Americans was a big part of it. But they only had really one orc in the movie who was a good guy.
Yeah.
Every other orc was exactly who they were thought to be. They were thugs and
except for that last pack.
Yeah,
and even then, that was only in the end that they showed that.
And I felt like I feel like you're trying to make this point that, you know, the downtrodden are being, you know, ostracized unfairly, but then you're making it very not unfairly.
And then we need to show the elf time or the elf town. We're gonna take a shortcut. Why? I don't know, because you need to see what it looks like. Oh, it's beautiful buildings and all that stuff. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. And Mike and... Was it Mike and Mike?
Yes.
Who both really liked it?
Yeah. And all I had heard was from people at work and from them, everybody said it's really good. And all the way up, and I hadn't watched it yet until we walked, and you're like, you guys talking about Bright? It was terrible. I'm going, okay, now we've got a different opinion.
Yeah. Which is not usually the side of movie opinion that I take.
No, it just it was not great. The other problem I had was they kept trying to like vamp up hero moments.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. Like in the middle, he stands up and fights, and then he has to grab the wand, and like the music he's building, which reminds me of the end of Suicide Squad, where they stop in the middle of it after they stab the heart, and Rick Flag grabs him and goes, now we just have to shoot in the middle. Like, thanks for explaining that right in the middle of what we're doing. Just to try to create another hero. I'm like, I think that's a director problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was, I mean, the sequel's already being made. There's already been greenlit. Maybe they'll do, I like the world.
Yeah.
I think they've got a good basis. I think they just need to tell a better story inside of it. And if they can.
And just one more kind of succinct...
And Numi Rapace's character...
story.
She didn't even matter.
Yeah.
She just, she was some evil person we were told about an hour into the movie who had no bearing on anything.
Yep. Yeah.
I wanted more from that, the elf that was fused into the wall.
Yeah.
That was such a cool set piece.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, what is she? Is she like something that can move through? No, she just got hit by the thing and she's just dead now.
It's just the aftermath.
That's it. All right. Well, we loved Jumanji. We didn't love Bright. Downsizing is a different beast. So we saw Downsizing yesterday. And I don't think that I can say that I totally disliked it. I know that I don't think it was a great movie.
I'm trying to think. There's another movie recently that I saw where afterwards I can say, did I really like it? Not really. Did I, throughout the whole movie, want to stay in my seat and find out what happened next?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's a great rent at Redbox movie because it kept my attention the whole time. I was pretty satisfied with what happened, but
gotta fast forward through parts of that first hour.
Yeah.
It was a very long movie. It was very interesting. I didn't quite always get what they were going for. Somebody was talking about when they were writing it, or the writers, how they balanced comedy and drama so well, and I don't really think that happened. Like, they kept trying to randomly throw comedic moments in there where they weren't appropriate.
Yeah.
Like the ending, that whole build, not ending, but when the whole build up of when they were at that final dinner.
Mm.
And then they showed baby Ronnie with the like herpes on his lip. I'm going, that is not at all the read I'm getting of this room.
Yeah.
Like, all these people are getting ready to leave the world forever. The guy just gave that really good, tearful speech, and then we throw his random joke in there.
Yeah.
He didn't return up the hole for her. It seemed like he returned because he didn't want to walk up the hill.
Yeah, that was really weird too, because I didn't like that either.
I didn't need there to be a love story. That was unnecessary.
Yeah. I did like that how they treated being small. I was afraid that it was going to be joke after joke after joke about them being small, like just throwing in your face, look at all these cool things that we can show you about how small they are. And there were enough of those moments, or they were in the background enough where it was cool to find, like the slums being built in like old shanties, like they were like regular buildings that they had just decided to cut into apartments, basically. I enjoyed that stuff. That so that was something I liked about it. Yeah. Christopher Waltz was great.
He was.
And I forgot the other guy's name. His sidekick.
I don't know his actual name.
Yeah.
Like the sea captain?
Yep, the sea captain. They were both great.
Yeah.
Matt Damon was good, although a little thick around the. He looked like a very, very middle-aged guy in this movie.
I think he's supposed to.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was on purpose.
He's getting more and more method, I think, the older he gets.
Yeah.
I think this was another one of those. We had this problem with Suburbicon. I think this is another one of those where it could have been there was a great movie in there. It just was maybe not executed properly.
Yeah.
Editing wise, it was not done. I mean, there are just I can pull out, and if this happens, that means I'm paying attention to the wrong thing because the movie's not grabbing my attention for it. But there are like shots where like he's walking up a stairs. And like to pan over just to pan to another shot, I'm going, that's 3 seconds you could have cut right there, and it would have been nothing.
Yeah.
It would have been useless.
Yeah, and I felt like they tried to start too many storylines.
Yeah. And
either just let them float away, like his friend from high school.
Yeah.
Like, I guess at the beginning he was there to kind of introduce him, but unnecessarily so.
Yeah.
And then he went to his party, and then all of a sudden he's no longer a part of this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
why isn't he helping him out when he couldn't?
Yeah.
Because obviously in the divorce he couldn't keep that house. That's what I figured.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I assumed.
But, yeah.
But even that, like, okay, so if they go 50-50 in the divorce, they had $14 million.
Yeah.
He would get even half of it, $7 million. Yeah. Why is he working this crappy job and living in this tiny little apartment if he's got $7 million?
Yeah, I don't. And then knowing what you know about the end of the movie, the stuff with his mom didn't matter.
Oh, at the beginning?
Well, because it was setting. It looks like, and maybe this actually happened. Maybe they changed direction. Because it looked like they were going to be about. It was going to be about how Matt Damon's character takes on everybody's burdens.
Yeah,
he helps his mom. It doesn't matter what he did that day at work. Or what he saw, his wife is sitting there because she had a fight with a coworker or something like that, and he helps her. He helps her foot is broken, so he carries her everywhere. It was going to be something about how he needs to learn to live his life or something.
Yeah.
But now that wasn't what the movie was about, and none of that mattered, again, lopping off the movie.
True, although I guess it was kind of like that. He was going to go live underground to help save humanity.
It's true.
And then he decided, no, I'm in love. That's not what I want for myself. I'm going to be a little selfish. Yeah. And so I guess there was a little bit of that theme of sometimes you have to be selfish and live for yourself.
Yeah. All of the political discourse over it made some really good points, and I thought was going to be a very major part of the movie. Ended up not mattering.
Yeah, but you're right. Like
Laura Dern and Neil Patrick Harris' character, nothing.
Yep.
No reason for them to be in this movie.
Yeah, I mean they were just a fun set piece in when introducing Tomorrowland.
Yeah, that was a cool shots, but I'm like,
yep.
All of this stuff that could have been that if you took that away and made that movie about what it ended up being about, I feel like you could have had a good movie.
I agree.
But it ended up being kind of like a 50%er.
Yeah.
Well, that's our holiday movies. Obviously, a lot more movies came out there, but those are the movies that maybe you didn't. Maybe you gave a pass.
I will say, honorable mention to Greatest Showman. We're gonna hopefully go see it. But
the only reason we're not talking about it is because we haven't.
Yeah,
seen
we won't talk about it, but I just want to say, fantastic, a lot of fun. The best part about it is lately, we've seen a handful of musicals being made. But they actually made a musical with all people who could sing, which was
a good
call.
There's other things we can talk. I mean, we've got 2 movie days ahead of us, tomorrow and Sunday. So, we could talk about this next week. But how they did not apparently portray P.T. Barnum how he actually was, which was like terribly racist and all that stuff, and there are people that are upset about that. But
yeah, well, it's a movie.
It's a candy movie. It's there for it. But in any case, I have been Dave, and if you want to find me on Twitter, that's thealien512.
Are we skipping Star Trek?
Oh, no, we're not. I'm sorry. We talked about this at the beginning. We got time. It's only been 36 minutes.
Yeah, we got
extra show. Look at this. This was, I have it all the way. I put it in the intro and then didn't put it in my news.
That's funny.
So this was another news topic. So Quentin Tarantino, this was actually announced last year. Well, that was 3 days ago.
Yeah.
But like a couple months ago. Quentin Tarantino is going to direct the next Star Trek movie. Mm-hmm. When they said the next Star Trek movie, I don't believe that's the Chris Pine cast.
Not necessarily. It hasn't been announced, although John Cho has been quoted as specifically saying, like, I know they talked about it, but I really want to be Sulu.
Okay.
Like, he really wants to be involved. He wants to know what Sulu's going to say. But not only is he now the director, but they announced the writer, the head writer, which is going to be Mark L. Smith, who wrote Revenant.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to be... I did not see Revenant, but I heard... Did you see Revenant?
I did see Revenant.
So...
Which, by the way, when you say wrote Revenant, it's like 4 lines.
And that's the point is Quentin Tarantino is such a dialogue-heavy guy, and he has this writer who his biggest work is not. That's going to be interesting.
Well, so Quentin Tarantino does movies with other people.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico was a Tarantino movie. It was him and Robert Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. He didn't do the movie, though.
Yeah.
So that's not one of Quentin Tarantino. Like, there's Tarantino movies are specific.
Yeah.
So it's like saying Guillermo del Toro's movies are. It's maybe Pacific Rim's not one of them. You think of Pan's Labyrinth, not of the other things that you do. So that's what makes me think like everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be like language and violence and all. So I'm like, I think that he'll probably stick to Star Trek. He won't make it into him. He'll put himself into it.
Well, and it is gonna be R-rated, but he is a huge Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
And I think that is why he'll stay true to Star Trek.
I don't think he'll pull punches though.
No.
I mean that's a beautiful thing about him is.
And he was on the Nerdist podcast in 2015 and did a big thing just talking about Star Trek and his love for Star Trek. And one of the things he said was if he could make a Star Trek movie, he would love to take there was a original series episode called City on the Edge of Tomorrow. Which is a very famous Star Trek episode, and he would love to take that concept.
Is that Guardian of Forever?
Guardian of...
The Guardian of... I am the Guardian
Yes,
of...
yes.
I've jumped through that.
Really?
It was at the Detroit Science Center when they were touring the props.
Yeah.
And they had the original
Really?
Guardian of Forever, and it was just sitting there, and nobody is like around. Like there weren't that many people there.
Yeah.
Bridget's there with me, and we're looking at stuff and all that stuff, and I went, I got to do something, and I walked up to it, and I just jumped through it.
That's awesome. So I mean, have you seen that episode?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a time travel episode, which has become the Star Trek thing.
Right.
You know, it is what it is.
Part of it.
But it's about going back in time, fixing things, but it's very dark. Like Kirk has to let the woman that he falls in love with die in order to save the future.
Right.
And I could see something along those lines being something Tarantino does.
Well, Beyond brought a little darkness,
It did.
and I think that Beyond was the best of the three.
I do too. I mean, I really like the first one.
I do too. I mean, the first one was just classic Star Trek.
Yeah, the second one was
Yeah.
meh, and the third one and Beyond was great. Although I've seen a lot of reading up on this stuff, a lot of people did not like the second one a lot, and
People hated the second one,
and did not
I can
really
see-
like the third one.
I like the second one because I'm a Star Trek fan, and I
Yeah.
love to see the Star Trek stuff. If I'm looking at it objectively as Dave, the guy who does movie reviews
Yeah.
and stuff like that, it was not a great movie.
I agree. But a lot more
Ben-
people didn't like Beyond than I was. I was
Yeah, that
surprised
surprises
because
me.
I really enjoyed Beyond.
Especially because it was so much of a Star Trek episode. It was just so
Yeah.
It was so Trekky.
Yep.
It's the same people don't like Insurrection, and then when people don't like Star Trek Insurrection, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. And that's what Star Trek should be. It should be episodic.
Yeah.
And Beyond
maybe-
was great because we got to really. I love the breaking up of the characters. Got us time with each character.
Yeah.
Playing off each other,
With
and
different
that's very Star
characters
Trek.
too. Characters
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have thought before.
And that's a very Star Trek thing
Yeah.
to do too. They go on away missions, and
Yep.
what two random characters can we put
when
together
Paris
that will
and Neelix
make a
get stuck together for an
yeah,
entire
or
episode.
Tuvok and Neelix.
Yeah. Weird random stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's great. And the galaxy doesn't have to be in peril every single movie.
no.
This is the beauty of this. Is somebody on YouTube put this as the Dark Knight theory, and versus Man of Steel. At Man of Steel, he's going to defeat Zod, because there can't be another Star Trek or Superman movie if the entire world's destroyed.
Correct.
Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the Joker can succeed. Those two boats can just be destroyed, and you could just move on. That space station could have been destroyed.
Yeah, because that was the main thing.
And
yeah.
and they still win and have to deal with that. So it gives you different stakes.
Yep.
And I like it a lot better.
I agree.
Sometimes the galaxy has to be at stake. Sometimes you want to root for everything, but when you're that deep into a series, take some chances.
Especially if you're gonna go a dark R-rated.
Yeah.
Well, maybe dark, but an R-rated route.
Yeah.
People got to die.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we'll see. I mean, I was just searching. I sent you that meme because I was looking
Yeah.
at the 21 best memes, and there one was Patrick Stewart and his house untangling Christmas lights, and he says, "I wish there were only 4 lights." I'm like, that's a dark couple episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they really reached some good spots in Next Generation,
Yeah.
and
Even Voyager went.
Voyager
to a
went
few.
dark every once in a while. Theirs were more though in universe stuff, like with aliens.
True. Fear though. Fear was
a big deal. Yeah.
of dark and one of my favorite
Yeah.
of all Star Trek episodes. And obviously if they're gonna go with that same cast, they have to deal with Anton Yelchin.
It's true.
Which if they're gonna have characters die, that's
Yep.
I guess a way to deal with that.
I don't have any problem because they did Spock so well.
Yeah,
That was a perfect
Yep.
send off. So I think they wouldn't have any issue with that.
I agree.
But I'm okay with seeing a different cast.
Yeah,
I
although
still-
J.J. Abrams is still involved in it.
I'm sure that
'Cause-
he's got producer credits on
Yeah.
like the next 6 movies.
Yeah, him and Tarantino are, but they're also kind of working on their own stuff. So
Yeah.
I think they're gonna only be partially in it. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I don't remember. But I mean, that's it. Like everybody's like, "Did you see that Tarantino's doing a new Star Trek movie?" My first thought is, "Okay, good. There's going to be another Star Trek
Yeah,
movie." So
absolutely.
it's not like we have any problems. It's not like hearing they're making another Justice League movie and everybody has to go, "All right, well, what is it going to be?"
Yeah.
Like what? No, I mean, make another Star Trek movie. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
I would love to see another Dennis Okuda Star Trek movie.
yeah,
A movie with the original look to everything, with the original uniforms, or even I do like the black and gray uniforms with the colored shirt
Yeah.
underneath. But that original style done with a new cast, I would love to see that.
If I could create any new Star Trek property, I would love to see a new series. done in the same style as Generation and Voyager, where it's because Discovery is a whole different animal. It's not.
It's true.
I don't know. It's its own thing.
Close. It's closer to, what's it called? New Star Trek.
Yeah,
except
exactly.
it's a lot more military.
Yeah, but I would love to see one done in the 29th century,
like way.
With the time ships.
Oh yeah.
And because they show up in Voyager a lot, they show up in Enterprise a lot. They have the temporal Prime Directive, which obviously the Prime Directive is what binds together most Star Trek episode problems.
Yeah.
But seeing, and there's so many cool opportunities for them to hop through time, fixing issues. People breaking the temporal Prime Directive. I just think that would be a really cool series. And they could go anywhere. They could do anything, any period in history of anything. And, I just think that would be...
I'd love to see the Dominion War played out a little bit more.
Yeah.
That
cool.
was a beautiful part of that series. And so I think some of the best episodes of Deep Space Nine are based in the Dominion War.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good one.
Cool.
Anyways, back to Twitter. I'm the Alien512. Nate?
What's Mike's Twitter?
Mike's is WS the Mike Speaks.
There you go. Do WS the Mike Speaks.
If you want to follow the entire Trailer Park Podcast, that's at Trailer Park Cast, or to follow Wampa Slayer at Wampa Media, or Facebook.com/Wampa Slayer. There's not that big ending. The Wampa Slayer Podcast has a much bigger ending than the Trailer Park does.
What is the one?
I don't know. I just feel like we're usually talking for like 5 minutes straight because I'm done. That's it.
I mean, you and Mike usually do your little movie quote.
Yeah, we did that at one point, but
now
we just say, have a great week at the movies.
Well, thanks for having me.